Hi everybody, sanibonani. Welcome to my channel. Igama lami Ntando Mdletshe, and on this channel siyaye sibuka ama reality shows ethu ala eMzansi bese siza la sokhuluma ngawo lama shows, senza ama reviews ama recaps bese siyaphinda futhi sikhuluma any other issues avukayo uma ngabe lama shows sesiwabukile ku TV. Siyaphinda ke futhi sikhulume ngama celebrities ethu kanye nama YouTubers ethu ala eMzansi. If it's your first time joining us today and you really like our content, do not forget to press the subscribe button below and also the notification bell. Basically, if you want to be a member of the channel, there's a join button below. You can press it and join as a member. Thank you so much to all those that have joined as members. I'm actually going to start producing content for our members because in number saying but we still need more people, you guys. Anyway, thank you so much to all those that have thanked the channel. The thanks button, it's a once off, you guys. So if you ever feel like you want to thank the channel, there's a thanks button below. And also thank you so much to everybody that watches our adverts as Google channel. In our revision today, because I did say sizo revise Uthando Nesthembu while we are on our road to season 6, okay? So in season 1 of Uthando Nesthembu, that's when they were introducing the family. They wanted things to look perfect. But towards the end of the season, we could see the cracks here and there. We could see the cracks here and there. One of the cracks was that thing I talked about in my last video, where I felt like Mdletshe was actually challenging the other wives, the wives that are working, to actually contribute more towards the family business. Remember, they had that lodge that they were working on, the events planning and all of that, and Umusa was kind of getting into the property development space as well. So she felt like Makhumalu were working more on the family business when actually the business was for everybody. Everybody was benefiting from the business. Okay, in season 2, I guess they still have the lodge, but they don't show as much of them being at work. It's like the show is moving away from them showing them being at work, especially when it comes to the businesses. Kodwa ke namhlanje ivideo yami ngifuna focus a little bit, because one of the things that I noticed is how different is Makhumalu at the beginning of the season, and how this video is more like an evolution of Makhumalu when we watch Uthando Nesthembu. One of my viewers in the last video I did said she really likes Makhumalu because Makhumalu always chooses peace. And I thought that is such a perfect way of describing Makhumalu. She always chooses peace. And she does, you guys. I think that every time that there is a conflict or an argument or a disagreement within the family, she will find a way to make peace. The only thing that I have that I've always had a challenge with when it comes to Makhumalu is the fact that sometimes I feel like she compromises too much when it comes to how she feels about the situation. I will feel like she doesn't express how she feels just so that she can have peace. She will rather have peace than be open about how she really feels about the situation. It might not be true, but it has always been my struggle with relating to Makhumalu when it comes to Uthando Nesthembu, because I always feel like I want her to speak up. And in season 2, that is the season that we started to see that the other wives had a problem with Makhumalu. And their problem had been that, I remember Mdletshe even saying to Makhumalu, when Makhumalu, was it Mdletshe or Mayen, between the two, saying, when Makhumalu uyathanda uku-acta as if you are the only wife Mseleku. Okay, remember when they said that? And I remember at the time struggling to understand what do they mean. And I felt like at the time, maybe because obviously you guys, when we watch the show, we just give in a little bit of their lives, because our camera just come for a specific amount of time, and then they leave and they continue with their life. So there's so much that we don't get to see when it comes to the shows, but we only judge them based on what we see in the show. So I remember at the time when I was watching season 2 not understanding what they meant, because at the time also I was also still receiving Makhumalu as a peacemaker, as somebody that was always going to make sure everybody is comfortable. If she had your feelings, she'd be the first one to apologize. If people are not getting along, she'd be the first one to say something that will, like I say, that viewer that said Makhumalu always chooses peace, I think it's a perfect way to describe her. Okay. So at the time I was a little bit confused as to what they meant. But then when I'm watching season 2 again, this time you remember that we were all surprised in season 2 to discover that Mseleku, remember he has 2 children that he had outside of his 4 marriages. He has 4 marriages but still has kids outside of his 4 marriages. And that is Usne and also Umpilo. Usne lives with Umatsele and Umpilo lives with Makhumalu. And when it comes to Umpilo wanting to change the surname, because she wants to change the surname and use this bongo saga Mseleku, that is when we got a shock of our life. Mseleku actually unengane ezimbili angasihlawulile. This man has managed to take 4 whole wives as wives, but engabahlawulile abantwana bakhe about 2. Okay, fine, I take it. He might have had his reasons, but I'm like, but what reasons? Because uhlawula ukuhamba uye kubo kwengane yakho with imali and negotiate and uhlawule. But he had never done it. So during that process, when Umpilo really wants to change her surname to Isibongo sikaBaba wakhe, and at the same time going through a process of not wanting to offend her mom and Uma wakho Thobile, by the way, Uma kaMpilo naye is also Thobile, not wanting to offend Uma wakhe. Uthobile Makhumalu ends up taking a leadership in trying to sort that out. Okay, so basically she's the one that goes and talks to Umpilo and says Umpilo, she feels it's about time Umpilo changes the surname, and also kuba nama issues when they deal with izinto zakhe esikoleni and all that. So whatever it is that was left undone in terms of amahlawulo and all, she feels like it's time. And then they start that process up until a point where they actually go by Malume kaMpilo kuyohlawula. And Makhumalu is the one that is there. I was looking at that scene and I was like, is that okay? Kuyenziwa yini kanjalo ukuthi unkosikazi, if nginengane nomuntu, unkosikazi walowo muntu uye ozoza ekhaya for amahlawulo. And she goes as far as she's so involved that she even talks to ugogo kaMpilo, negotiating ekhuluma ngokuthi ene yini bayikhiphe ilokhuzana kuthiwani inkomo lekhishwa umuntu beyintombi into ukuthi bekufanele yini ikhishwe for uma kaMpilo. That process is led by Makhumalu. Okay, fine, it ends up ke kuba ukuthi kugcina kuhlawuliwe and all of that, even though kuba nawo lawo ma conflicts bengavumelani ngalezo zinto kugcina kuhlawuliwe. And I think ugogo kaMpilo ends up agreeing ukuthi Mpilo it's fine, she can change her surname. Okay, fine. However, guys, involvement kaMakhumalu in that whole thing, I did not understand. How do you get involved ekuhlawulweni kwengane? I understand that uhlala naye, so obviously she's acting like her mom, but for her to be there kuleyo process, that part I did not understand. But I also thought that might have been the reason, one of the reasons that caused the other wives to have those hard feelings about her, because she led that process alone as unkosikazi kaMusa at that time. Because the time that we actually discovered that the other wives had a problem with Makhumalu in season 2 was at the end of season 2, and we were all puzzled as to why all of a sudden they are having those feelings about her. Okay, so I feel like that thing, it's maybe one of the things that maybe she likes taking leadership with certain things in the family when she feels like izinto ethile need to be sorted out. And in this case, she took that leadership when it came to Mpilo. And maybe the other wives, even though they didn't say, maybe they do have hard feelings about her doing that and saying, why would she be the one? She is the third wife. Why would it not be uMaCele that sorts that out with uLokhuzana, with Mseleku? And maybe Makhumalu at the same time was feeling like nobody is sorting this out for this child. I just need to get involved, even though it might be inappropriate for me to get involved. And I remember, you guys, that later on as well, that there was a time when she was trying to, I think now they were like in the process of actually changing the surname, and she was calling Umampilo, and Umampilo kwabe ngathi uyamphoxa and said ukuthi actually Thobile, I think umuntu that I should be communicating with here is uMusa, because mina ngathola ingane noMusa, not with you. You know, and I think it was getting too much even for Uthobile, who is Umampilo, to deal with, you know, because maybe now she was feeling like, why is it her that is involved? But for me, watching, re-watching season 2, it gave me that clarity that because Makhumalu is somebody that always wants to take leadership in sorting out izinto that she feels are not resolved. She wants to resolve things for the family. Maybe there is a feeling in the first 2 wives zokuthi she even steps in where she is not supposed to step in, and that is the reason that meeting, remember, angafiki kuyona, but there is that meeting that happens at the end of season 2 where they say to her that she acts like she's the only wife kaMusa Mseleku. At the time, the explanation that she gives in Makhumalu is that she feels like it's because every time that there is something to sort out, when Umusa wants something from them and they don't want to help him, he always ends up asking her, because he knows she is the wife that will say yes to whatever it is that he needs done. So he feels like she was feeling like mabenqaba ukumenzela something uMseleku, they expect her ukuthi anqabe, and a lot of the times she doesn't. She will always end up helping uLokhuzana uMseleku. And I think one of those things is in Togampilo. I think at the end, when they felt like she had sorted it out, they felt like she shouldn't have gotten involved, because maybe bona they felt that into Kampilo should have been sorted out by Mseleku, not by the wives. And the involvement Makhumalu, to them it was like her acting like, because Lapayana Kampilo, it was like she's representing abantu bakamseleku, but should it be Makhumalu who represents umndeni wakamseleku, or should it be uMaCele? At the same time, if uMaCele was not willing to do it, was it not okay for Makhumalu to actually do it? Had she waited for uMaCele to do it, maybe it wouldn't have been done. But it's clarifying so much for me. However, you guys, I do feel like at the beginning of the season, Mseleku treats Makhumalu like ingane, and he does say a number of times that Makhumalu is actually the youngest of all of the wives. She's not the youngest in terms of like in the line. In the wife line, she's the third wife, not the last wife, but in terms of age, she is the youngest. And kunesikhathi where efelwa imoto endleleni and Mseleku amthethise ngathi ingane, you know. And as we move along the seasons as well, remember there is a scene where Makhumalu is wearing leggings that Mseleku feels like akhanyiswa ilanga, ayashayina kuzokhanya izinqe or kuzokhanya amathanga, and then he feels like they, you know, that shouldn't be amthethisiso kwengane even there. Kodwa I do feel like as the seasons move along, because my frustration with, I like her being a peacemaker in the family, and I like the fact that she's always willing to talk and resolve the issues, but I always just feel like I wanted to speak up a little bit more when it comes to her feelings, because even the way that her husband talks about it, she will talk about it in the diary sessions, how she feels about it, but you never see her have that conversation with her husband to say, I do not appreciate the way you talk to me, maybe try and be like that. And that's a frustration for me. But I do feel like even with uMaCele, Makhumalu, uyazama ukuthi azi-express again, but if because uMaCele is very overpowering, you're always going to hear Macele's point in a conversation. So Makhumalu always takes a position yokuthi ehlise umoya. But in season 5, it's the season where we saw Makhumalu express herself against Mdletshe. Remember that meeting that they were supposed to have, and Mdletshe comes with the news zokuthi Mseleku wants to take Makhumalu, but she's not saying it directly. That was the first time that we saw Makhumalu really getting upset with Mdletshe and talking to her the way that she talked to her, because and saying ukuthi kusho ukuthi wena ungenza isilima, because she felt like Mdletshe knew about the relationship between Mseleku and another Makhumalu. I'm only hoping ukuthi insist that was just the beginning of her starting to speak up when it comes to her feelings. And remember, she did have a sit down also with Mseleku to say, listen, if you are dating a Makhumalu, I am the first one that should know about it, being Makhumalu, especially because the reason you are dating another Makhumalu is because of the situation that is happening in my household. So I am hoping that season 5 really was just the beginning of Makhumalu being Makhumalu that speaks up about how she feels, and doesn't sacrifice herself for the family. And I'm hoping that in season 6 we get to see more of her standing up for herself and speaking up, and we're going to hear more about how she really feels about whatever situations that they're going to be going through in season 5, because I just want to see something different from Makhumalu. I'm tired of seeing the rest of the family getting what they want at the expense of Makhumalu, because Makhumalu won't say what she feels. And we already know that Mseleku doesn't fight for the other wives. He's always fighting for Mdletshe to be respected and Mdletshe to be heard, but you will never see him fight for the other wives in the same way. So I'm hoping within season 6 we're going to see something different, that she will be that wife that we are going to know exactly how she feels about the situation. We saw it a little bit in season 5. I hope we see more in season 6. Anyway, that's all that I want to talk about today. Listen, guys, a revision class is going to be going on until we get to season 6. If you are bored with the revision, uzofeyila kwi-exam yakho season 6. If I attend the revision, you are going to fail season 6. You will repeat season 6. Now we're moving to season 7. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like it before Pumegona. Share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers. Ntando kakhulu.